Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys another video. Persona 5X here. Today's video, guys, we're going to be going over exactly what the 5-star weapon does do for at least Matoi, as well as the 4-star weapon here, and whether it's really necessary to get this said weapon. Now, I wanted to do this comparison as always with all the characters that I usually always cover anyways here. So of course Matoi was going to happen here. Just things have been a little bit skewed on timelining here, because based on a lot of the things that's been recently coming out, I've had to push this video back a little bit, same as my build guide video, which don't worry, both of those are going to be happening this week. This one, of course, coming out today on Monday, should be around like maybe 10:30 or something like that, if I can stop yapping. And then the other one, of course, will be happening most likely on Wednesday or Thursday. See, now I actually have to contact my editor as well once I get everything recorded. But be patient with me, guys. I'm going to make sure I get that out as fast as possible here. And let's get straight into the video. So for Matoi here, she does have her 4-star weapon and her 5-star weapon here. I do believe I duped it out last time. Okay, no, I didn't. I need to actually dupe this out, just do a full-on review for the weapon here. But both of her weapons are actually fairly darn good here. You don't really need the 5-star weapon. 5-star weapon is actually fairly nice, but the 4-star weapon, after a lot of people have ended up testing it out here, is actually not a bad suggestion, and if you get it fully duped, it will help you out a lot. So pretty much, as we're going to go ahead and get this fully duped, I'm gonna explain exactly what it does do for you guys. So not only are you guys just seeing me kind of go get the materials to go dupe this dang weapon out, but also being able to know exactly what it does do here. So the 4-star weapon itself is called the Freezing Fork here, or at least that's the 5-star, sorry. The 4-star weapon is actually called Thorn of the Deep here, in which this one is fairly interesting because not only does it do what we need to be done like the Freezing Fork does, which is pretty much getting increasing our attack here, but it increases our attack a decent bit. By a certain amount here, if we have it at no dupes, it actually increases by like 12% or so. I think it's 12 or 13. And then at max, it goes up to a 24% that we very well do need as well. But this isn't really the main deal that we really do need to focus on. The other deal that we need to focus on is the EHR it does provide, which is a major thing that Matoi herself does need. Unlike other weapons where, of course, sometimes not having the said weapon can really kind of screw you over here, this weapon actually does come with what you mainly do need from Matoi, which is the EHR side of things here. So the secondary thing that's on this weapon is for every 1 stack of extinguished power, you actually are able to increase your EHR by, I think it was like 5 or 6% at base, up to 11.4% or 12.4%. I think it was the 12.4, but I may be wrong on that, so I'm actually correct myself as I'm getting up this weapon here. And pretty much that is going to be the main deal. With Matoi herself, your EHR plays a major role, and you don't really want to miss out on it. Much like how Haru really needs her EHR, Matoi is no different, but the lucky part about her is EHR is already built in her kit, and her weapon is actually able to provide it as a 4-star. The weapon as the 5-star does make it so you can at least not have to build too much EHR at all, but with the 4-star, you can build just a little bit of it and actually be perfectly fine. You don't have to have a just jack ton of at least EHR on the weapon itself, and it can make things a lot easier. So if we go ahead and check it out here, we have the 24% at full max, and then of course the 11.4% for EHR. Now the 5-star, what makes it so different here is more of the actual things that helps out for ice technicals, decreasing the target's defenses, and also really just help you out even further on that EHR mark. So if we check out the 5-star weapon here, instead of it being like 11.4% or 6% for EHR, we get a whopping 36% of EHR. This is why you technically don't have to build any, like not much at all for EHR when it does come down to Matoi's kit, and it's because it gives you so much at base. Alongside of this, of course, you're also increasing your attack based on said EHR, which can be at a base amount of 66%, as you can see down below, going to a whopping amount of, if I'm correct, is it like 70%? No, it's 72% here, which is already amazing enough. Now, the good part about this is the one thing that it doesn't get offered on the 4-star weapon here, but that's offered on the 5-star weapon, is every time we deal an ice technical, it will decrease the target's defense by a certain percentage, which is usually at base at 23.3%, going up to a max of 44.3%. Now, This is already great. This is something that you're gonna love, and of course it does last for 2 whole rounds and really does help. But having the 4-star weapon actually does help you out a lot as well. So if you want it, you technically don't need to go insane when it does come down to at least getting a lot of that EHR mark. We can see out of battle here, you do want to have around 110 EHR or so, in which let's go ahead and check mine currently. I do feel like I'm lacking a little bit, but I have 125, and then in battle you're usually gonna have like 171. So as long as you have out of battle 110, you should be able to hit that 171 EHR mark here, which is fairly nice because she's fairly generous on doing so. But now if we talk about the character a little bit here, let's go ahead and showcase what she can really do. So first things first, let's go ahead and swap our weapon and make it to the 4-star so you guys can actually see that first, and then we'll go ahead and check out the 5-star next. So same teams for both of these. I think I'm going to try to do this in this one here because this might be the best place to kind of test it out. Don't know how difficult these guys are, so yeah, we're just gonna go to the 3rd one because I really don't want them to get kind of smacked up too early, and we can't really showcase much at that point. So we're gonna go to Rin, utilize this. Of course, you guys' teams won't be absolutely the same. The main reasoning for that is because, of course, you know, we kind of need to go along with certain things as well. So it's not always going to be exactly the same, but we're still going to give it a shot. So I think I do have the persona that it's supposed to be with this what is it called, with this team here, but I don't have it leveled up here. If you can, this is the persona that you really want to be going for, mainly for buffing and things of that nature. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and get him up, so then at this point in time we can actually utilize this perfectly. And so let's go ahead and use that. It's on up here, making sure we can inflict the burns and everything we need here. And then that is the angel here. It's on upgraded, and let's get ourselves into battle. Now the reason that you want this here is because it's actually going to help out your fire damage in general here. So if you can actually utilize this persona, it will very well so help you. Of course, if you don't got it, you can still use Cert, in which Cert is actually amazing to do so because Cert is a debuffer. So always having Cert there is always going to be a good one. Fortunately, Bahamut is probably getting replaced. So let's go ahead and get into it and see exactly how much we can heal. So for Matoi herself, we need to go ahead and do the skill rotation of 1-3. That doesn't change even with, of course, our character being with the 4-star weapon. It won't change at all. Now, only issue is with Matoi, her whole ordeal is that she has to do a very iffy type of what is it called? A very iffy way of doing her rotation here, which does kind of suck because when you have to do at least the rotation a certain way it is, you need those 4 stacks to get the enhanced version. So that's what we're going to try and focus on and see if we can really do so. Go ahead and use this. Skill 1, we're doing at least 1,000, 3,000 on this, nothing too crazy here. And I'm not going to attack because we really just want to try and build up as much of that extinguished power that we possibly can here. And I want to get this a nice little try to kind of see what we can really do. So boom, damage bonus. I'm not going to attack because if we attack, we're probably killing. And I don't think any of us, actually, we might not kill. We can go ahead and experiment anyways here. So let's go ahead and utilize this immediately just to prep everything. And then you can kind of see with at least the ice and everything that we do have on there, we're already dealing a decent bit. And at this point in time, nothing really changes for this character, right? Everything's still going the same. She's still using the same things as normal. The only thing that's going to be a little bit different is, of course, the debuff that we get from at least the 5-star weapon here. As I did say, the debuff that we get with the 5-star weapon is going to pertain to hitting an ice technical. So at this point in time, that's going to be the only thing different. But other than that, you're still doing the same things. You still have your EHR amount, and we actually can check that here. In battle, we need 171, if I'm correct. With the 4-star weapon, we're sitting at a whopping, let's check what we got here. We're at 156 currently. Now, this is where this huge like 5-star deal does come in play. As I did say, you have a lower amount of EHR, but still you have a decent bit to work with. So if you did want to go ahead and make sure you have the best of the best for this 4-star weapon, after getting it maxed out, which gives you the 11.4% here, you want to make sure that you have a decent bit of EHR on your actual person. the way of doing this here as well is to make sure that your faith card, which I know my faith card doesn't have EHR on it, make sure your faith card does have an EHR stat, because usually that's going to scale way higher on that card anyways, especially if you get upgraded a couple times here. That's going to help you hit out that mark fairly easy, which luckily for her, that EHR mark is not that high. But anyways, now we are at the point where we can do what we want to do here, and I very well could just, you know what, I just want to pop it off just to pop it off because it's a cool looking ult. So go ahead and pop this off immediately. Get, of course, a nice debuff here as well. And let's see a damage actually I want to see. So 68k, which is just, of course, since we boosted her with our what's it called, with our cord, you would not naturally just do that damage anyways there. But we've already gotten enough stacks here. We have everything that we want. The only other thing that we're gonna need to do is, of course, just kill the guy, in which I still want to use the skill 3 just to show you guys exactly what it can do when it's enhanced, because we do need to have 3 or 4 stacks, if I'm correct, to actually get the full enhancement. So once you go ahead and use it, it's gonna do the enhanced version, which does 7k or so, and you still get those debuffs. So nothing's really changed with it. The only thing that's hardcore changed is, of course, the amount of damage you're gonna end up performing, with Ren, seeing that, of course, it helped, the 5-star helps out with the technicals, while also the amount of EHR you're really gonna get, attack that you're gonna get. So quickly just do this here. Really don't have to do too much with it, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the next round so you guys can see side by side exactly what they really can do. And we've already done our buffs, we've done everything we need to do this round, so let's just go ahead and debuff once again, get another debuff on out, and then let's press the alt key and just delete them both. So I just love freaking this character. But let's go ahead and blink, and they're gone. So lovely damage as always here. And now that we've tested out at least the 4-star weapon, you guys can see what you really can do with the EHR. And let's go ahead and test out the 5-star weapon and actually show you guys the differences of not only just hitting that EHR mark, but the differences are really just doing a lot more things for your characters in general. So swapping on over here, go ahead and do this, and let's get into that same fight, which, if I'm right, was at least the fight 3. So see what we got here. Let's go back there, go to boss 3, which this guy's gonna get stomped anyways, and do the exact same thing that we did the last round. So we have everything set up. I think Wonder was the only person who did something weird the first round, and that was because we couldn't control him in time. But not gonna use any of these. I think, actually no, we did use this. So let's just make it fair, make sure everything, of course, is going the right way. But utilizing our first one here, we of course get the defense down and stuff like that. Nothing really changes. Remember, this weapon is mainly helping you out with the ice technicals. Now, we don't have any fire on them at the time, so of course they're not going to actually give us the technicals right now. That will more or less happen once we, of course, get a fire technical on enemy, which, if you wanted to, that would be where at least this comes in handy, where we, of course, we have our Wonder helping us out in that way. So then we can actually proc that fire a little early to get the technical early, but that's if you want to do something like that. So let's go ahead and use this, use our alt here, press the skill 1 to get everything set up. Boom, and that actually killed by mistake a lot quicker than I expected, and that did a little bit more damage than I expected by mistake. And at this point, now remember, we got our EHR bonus up, so let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a look-see to see where we're at. So out of battle, we of course were like 120. So with this 5-star weapon, we are now, let's see, 176. So we're actually 5% over the EHR mark. So I could actually subtract some of that EHR because we don't want to have more than that. We don't really want to cap out too much here. But now that we have everything that we needed to at least have here, we can finally just do what we need to do. Now, if you wanted to utilize Matoi correctly here, technically you would want her to be making sure she's proccing this burn after everyone else has already went. So I think our first turn should technically be Wonder, then her, because we need Wonder to proc at least the burn off to make sure everything does go perfectly here. But on the off chances you don't got that, that's perfectly fine here. Just make sure you do the same thing here and just boom, same amount of stuff. We have everything already on there. Burns are there, everything's looking good. And since we're proccing this technical, it's always going to help us. So now, due to us having the amount of EHR we have, we're also able to increase the amount of attack we have. So unlike at least the other one that we're just having that flat attack increase, we go ahead and check out everything here. We are also getting the increase from her that's really happening. So I think they have on herself here, it should be here, where we have a certain amount of bonuses, which I'm trying to find it. That we need to find here. Let's see. Should be increased attack based on the amount of EHR we have. So 66% is increased, which I think do they just not show it? They might not actually show it here, which is just the problem there. But she is getting the attack increase. I think the entire team does receive it, but I don't really want to actually state that here. But she herself definitely is getting an attack increase, thankfully, due to having this 5-star weapon. So once again, we're not going to change too much. I think I am going to just pop this off, of course, just to showcase her dealing some good damage here as well with her ultimate. I think we did like, yeah, it was like 68k. We did the 20k difference there, which is pretty darn nice. And I don't really need to do anything else with this. I don't really want to actually kill the guy. So we're gonna do the same thing we did last time, get our buff up here. And then next time, I don't want to attack here because I'm pretty positive he's gonna die. Next time we'll be able to kill. So let's just block. Go ahead and block here. And with this in mind, we're still gonna tank this here. And then we get to use our enhance because we have, of course, the 4 here. So we got the 1-4, boom, still dealing some decent damage here. Go ahead and use our Futaba as well, getting this on down, and then allowing Rin to just straight up wipe the floor with this place. So absolutely amazing here. You guys can kind of see the difference of at least what's going on, which is what I wanted you guys to really see here. And I guess since this is what we're going to do the same thing as last time. And I'm not going to pop that off again here. I think I could just go ahead and use our debuff at this point in time. Then we can just go ahead, go into our form and use our technical shots here. Now, in reality, seeing how skewed at least Matoi's rotation really is, you still will be doing 1-3-1-3, but for that extra enhance, you will have to, of course, wait it out, which luckily nothing is huge by that. It's kind of sad that they didn't add that into the 5-star because I feel like adding that in would have helped out at least with the rotation amount, but unfortunately they did not. So of course Matoi, it still does have her problems with that, but you guys got to see at least the differences between the 4-star and the 5-star. In damage potential, technically there's only like a 20k difference for damage. At the end of the day, she is a debuffer, but at the end of the day, the 4-star weapon is pretty much just as good as the 5-star weapon. So you really don't need the 5-star weapon for this character. Hopefully this video did help you out when deciding that. Of course, as always, leave a like, hit that freaking like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. And until next time, everybody, peace out.